It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass.
Aww. Little Sam Gamgee.
Little sunshine Sam Gamgee.
That was a tongue twister.
Yep. I immediately regretted it.
Hello.
Hello.
Listeners. Welcome back. This is the We Read Books podcast. We read books and then we talk about them. And it's so fun.
And you listen to it.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, if not, then no skin off our backs.
Right. We're still doing it.
That's Whit.
And that's Mad.
And we're your hosts through this journey.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at We Read Books Pod. And you can email us at wereadbookspod23@gmail.com.
Yarp.
With all of your book recommendations. And anything else?
Comments.
Questions. That's it.
Hopefully not criticism.
We'll have no Lord of the Rings slander. Absolutely.
Zero.
Zero.
Unless it's against like a terrible character, then you can explain your dislike for them, which I'm sure anyone would agree with. But
yeah. But any hate for Lord of the Rings, we're not accepting.
It shall not pass. Not with us.
Not with us. Sorry. Yeah, we're lovers of the Lord of the Rings over here, if that hasn't been abundantly clear.
Movie and book, so
yeah.
Get over it.
Unmatched. So, yeah, this week we're returning to Middle-earth to finish our coverage of the Two Towers.
Yep. I don't know if it's been a minute or a little bit of time, but this is part 2 of our Two Towers coverage.
That's right. If you are finding yourself here and you didn't listen to part 1, you should go back and listen to part 1.
I guess technically the way that this is written, you could listen to them out of order be okay. You could. This is the only instance that I know of that this would not be confusing for you.
That's right. So in part 1, we went with Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, and Gandalf through their trials and tribulations. And now we are turning our attention to Frodo and Sam.
Yeah.
So, totally different area.
Yep. Which actually, the way that, Fellowship ends, you probably are chomping at the bit to get to Frodo and Sam.
That's true.
At least in the beginning. But then, as I said in our previous episode, there's so much going on. You're probably fully immersed. And yes, you're concerned about Frodo and Sam, but you get, obviously we'll get there. But I also am coming from the standpoint of someone who watched the movies first. I can't imagine being a first-time reader and ending with Frodo and Sam going off on their own and then just sticking with the other 6 for
a whole half a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could have been very troublesome to some, but like I said, I feel the story told was so good that eventually you kind of put the others aside in your mind.
Right. And honestly, I'm trying to think of another book where something similar happens, where your characters are split up and you kind of don't know what's happening to one set while you're with the other.
The Throne of Glass, it's One of them is something tower.
Oh yeah, the Tower of Dawn. Yeah,
Yes.
that one is
Sort of.
it's sort of like that.
It's much milder because, especially if you don't give a rip about Kale, you're like, yeah, okay, I don't care what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it does cause you to pause on the other group that you are more focused on. So
Yeah.
in a way that is similar, but
Yeah, because
it's not a one-to-one comparison, but that's the
Right.
only other instance that I can
Yeah.
think of.
yeah, because like even, when Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are off on their own, you're with them, and so you don't know what's going on in the general world.
Right.
But it almost doesn't matter because that's very periphery.
Right. Well, and you have a good idea, like they're on the run, so the
Yeah.
rest of the world is still on fire.
Exactly.
So-
It's not good.
Right. And you know that you're with who can most likely solve
Right.
the dumpster trash that's happening. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
where you need to be.
You're where you need to be, and you're not like in question, really.
Yeah.
So it's not the same at all, but but yeah, the way he broke this out is very like, which honestly, the way that this is written could have inspired SJM to write that part in Throne of Glass, like, because I know people now do the tandem read and read Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn together. Because Empire of Storms leaves off on a cliffhanger.
Right.
And people are just so impatient they can't get through Tower of Dawn.
Right.
In order to see what happens. And I'm just like, come on. If you'd like the tandem read, that's fine. I did not do it because I didn't even know about it when I read those.
Me either.
I just read them in the order.
Right. And again, I thought that the story in what is it?
Tower of Dawn.
Tower of Dawn, thank you.
Yeah.
My brain can't hold names of things sometimes. I thought that the story of Tower of Dawn was good. I was invested, so although again, the other group I was concerned, it kind of fell to the back of my mind while I was immersed in the Tower of Dawn. So.
Yeah. I agree. I mean,
if not, then it's not good writing and it's a bad story,
Yeah.
and shame on you for even doing that.
agreed. Like, I mean, I am not a Kale fan, even after I've read the entire series and he gets his arc or whatever.
Right.
I still don't love him as character. Whatever.
He's a rigid man, you
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah. Come on. But I loved all the other characters in that book.
Yeah.
I like Nezrin. I love Irene, Hussar, Sartak. All of the other characters in that book are amazing.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
It didn't matter that I am not a KL fan.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is sick.
Yeah.
So.
And in Lord of the Rings, you should be a fan of all your main characters, so
Yeah. Exactly.
shouldn't be a problem.
Exactly. All the main... Yeah, I don't think there is a main character in Lord of the Rings that I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
I like them all.
And even in the films, I love them all, but in the books, they're actually even more intelligent and grounded.
They are. They're... especially the hobbits, like our core four, are... All four of them are much more aware and observant of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
Like we saw in part 1 with Pippin.
He just made that one stupid moment, but that one
Yeah.
stupid moment isn't his whole personality.
Exactly.
And as we said, it was probably, if not heavily, magically influenced.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, like, he's really the driving force as to why he and Mary escape the orcs anyway. So, yeah, and we'll see in this section, Sam and Frodo are not as trusting as we're led to believe if you only see the films.
Yeah, and there's not as much, and not to say infighting between Frodo and Sam, but there's not, a rift doesn't build.
Right, exactly.
There's no rifting.
So,
just solid, steady friendship.
yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, we'll reflect on our Frodo and Sam.
I know, it's really hard. I'm like trying to keep my movie thoughts separate, but
I know.
it's just hard.
It's so hard, especially because they're so wonderful and we both watched them so many times.
Yeah. And the differences are fairly minimal.
Yeah.
Not to say not impactful, because there was a few that we've discussed, which we will try to save for a We Watch Movies.
I know.
But,
I keep thinking that.
Yeah. But for the most part, especially this book, I mean, compared to Fellowship, it's pretty 1-to-1.
It really is. There are only a few parts
that are added for, I believe, dramatic flair in the films, but otherwise,
which is understandable.
Yeah,
fine, but yeah, there was so much more in Fellowship that they just simply had to remove.
Yeah,
which again, like Tom Bombadil and the whole thing, but so that's understandable. But yeah, this one is very close, very close, especially book 4 in particular.
Yes,
very close.
In particular.
I haven't read Return of the King in such a long time, so I'm really interested to see like fresh what the differences there are, because I know of one scene in particular that they filmed that didn't go in the film.
Yes, and I know of that too, but I, on the other hand, have never read Return of the King, so I am very eager to see also what is different, because as we've discussed with Two Towers, there's actually more in the book than there is in the film. Where the film ends, the book continues on to a few things that you see in the beginning of the Return of the King film.
Yes.
So the book actually covers more. And like even like the Fellowship ends a little earlier in the book than the films do.
Right.
And this book kind of picks up what was left.
So the Two Towers kinds of extends into what we, having so much movie familiarity, it extends on both ends.
It does.
Into each.
I found that kind of interesting.
That is really interesting, actually. I wonder what the run time is for, if they did that in order to make the runtime more even across the 3 films.
Probably, though an odd thing that I just recently realized, my husband and I, we collect VHS tapes just because we're like little nostalgic nerds. And I've recently acquired the Lord of the Rings films on VHS. I had the first Lord of the Rings single tape already, but I didn't have the others. I did recently acquire the extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring on VHS, and that's 2 VHS tapes. But Two Towers, like the original Fellowship, is just 1 VHS tape, but Return of the King, not the extended version, is 2 videotapes. Which when I bought it, I was like, oh, this is the extended version. Cool. I have 2 extended versions now in my VHS tape collection. Huzzah to me.
Yeah.
But then I was looking at them and I was like, wait, no, this is just the regular theatrical release.
Yeah.
But it's on 2 tapes. So I do think that that third one is even still longer. Which it does have 5 endings. So not 5 endings, but like as at least the first time I saw it, it's like I remember distinctly there was at least 3 moments where you're like, oh, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the end of the movie. Oh,
yeah.
No. Is this the end of the movie? So I think it is a bit longer. So it is interesting that the book cut into it a little bit, and that movie was still 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah. That's wild.
So I am curious on the run times though now. Ever since I saw that, I was like, oh, I thought they were all pretty equal, but I don't know.
Weird. I recently actually watched Return of the King while I was doing laundry. This was, it's probably been a month and a half ago, probably, but it's the only way I can get through putting away my laundry is
distract yourself with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It's got to be something.
Right.
Like sometimes when a new season of RuPaul's Drag Race is airing, I will like save 2 episodes so that I can put my laundry away. New season of Drag Race actually just came out on Friday, so.
You're like, this is my doing things to entertainment.
Exactly.
Must save for when I have things to do that I don't want to do. It's like you're rewarding yourself during the task.
I have to.
That's a good plan.
I have to coax myself into it. Come on.
Nice.
Like making the dogs go outside.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. All right. I'll give you a treat.
Yeah. Laundry is the bane of my existence.
I don't hate laundry. I used to love laundry when I was a kid, but now my washer and dryer are up on this like pedestal for reasons unknown. We thought it was because like the plumbing was under there or something. No, it's just up on a pedestal. But we also like don't want to rip it out.
Yeah.
But my washer is a top loader. I am a wee girl. I'm not a tall woman. I'm 5'4", but still it's very difficult for me to reach into my washer. I have to have a step ladder to do it without hurting my arm reaching so far. So that is a bit frustrating, but otherwise like I find like hanging up my clothes kind of rewarding, but I will say I leave them hanging in the laundry room for quite some time. Or like because I hang up most of my stuff because I'm terrified it's going to get shrunk in the dryer. But my sleeping clothes and stuff I'll put in the dryer, and that will usually sit in a basket. Sometimes I'll fold it right away. Sometimes I won't, but it'll still sit in the basket for a little bit as well. So I understand.
Yeah. I will. Sometimes I'll wash all of my laundry. I hang up very few of my clothes. I guess I just figure if it shrinks, it shrinks.
I was going to say, I don't know that I know very many people that hang as much things as I do.
Yeah.
I'm a little anal, I guess, but.
Yeah. I'm just lazy, to be honest, when it comes to that. And so I just wash it and I pull it out of the dryer, let it sit in a basket, and I just dress out of the basket until I run out of baskets to put dirty clothes in. And then I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's time to put clothes away because I have dirty clothes that need to go in that basket.
Right. That's so funny.
I will do almost any other household chore. Dishes, clean the kitchen. I don't care.
Yeah.
Laundry, I hate it. Dakota usually puts his away straight out of the dryer. I just can't.
Caleb will put his away straight away as well.
I just simply can't. I cannot be bothered.
I have other things to do.
Yeah. If I would do laundry like every few days, then maybe it wouldn't be so daunting, but I just don't have time during the week to do it. And so I usually end up doing multiple loads every week.
Yeah. If I had less clothes, I probably would do laundry more often as well.
Yeah.
Because I would be forced to. But
right.
I have probably too many clothes. So I can get away with not doing laundry for
me too.
Some time.
Me too.
And I'm like crazy enough that I don't just do colors and whites and then like junk clothes. I do red and oranges together. I do blues and greens together. I do pinks and purples together. Because I'm afraid of color bleeding as well. Because that's happened. So it made me a little paranoid. But I'm not saying I have so many clothes that I can, I don't know. Maybe I do. But those are the color combos that I do. As you can tell, I'm a little weird and particular about my laundry. But whatever.
I have 0 particulars. I wash all of them together. As many as will fit in the washer. I just put them all in there and I'm like, whip.
I have so much dog hair in my house that if I did that, it would probably still be on clothes when I took it out.
Oh, yeah. I have so much dog hair on all of my clothes.
But that's what the dryer is for. You just tumble it until it's finally come out.
Yeah.
Since I don't tumble my clothes.
Right. That's true.
They got to have room in the washer. I did learn that because I used to pack it pretty tall. And then I was like, okay, I need to leave some room for the water and the soap.
The water, yeah. But the dryer is usually where most of the dog hair gets pulled out, because I do also have like a couple of wool balls that I put in there.
I need to get some of those.
And like pet hair specific dryer sheets are
Yes.
like larger and thicker.
Yeah.
So those do a pretty good job. They don't pull all the hair off, but
Nice.
I mean some of it.
Yeah.
So
Gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah. Ugh. Maybe I should just do like people in New York do and just have my laundry done. And just go pick up a bag and it's all folded.
Are there services like that around here?
I think.
Can you drop your clothes off at the laundromat?
No, I think you would just take them to the dry cleaner. I don't know. I don't know how they do it on the East Coast. I only know of this from watching Jersey Shore. They would take all like bags of laundry to the laundry place, and then they would go back and pick it up like the next day or however long later, and it's just like folded and in a bag.
What?
I don't know what this witchery is, but I need to know.
It's called famous people that have a reality show money.
This is like
can pay for people to do their laundry.
This is like season 1 stuff, though. This is like before they were anyone.
Wow.
Yeah. I think a lot of East Coasters, especially living more closer to the city, just don't have washers and dryers.
I was going to say, wait, their apartments are like a thimble, so they probably don't have room for that. So, yeah.
So they
and you can't be lugging baskets of laundry just like down the street.
So you either like go to the laundromat, or if you are able, like take your clothes to have them washed.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I don't know the logistics, but I need to find that out.
You're like, I need to find a service.
Someone just come to my house and put my laundry away.
There you go. I'd say put something on Craigslist, but that's
yikes. Okay.
You know who's not worried about laundry? Frodo and Sam.
That's right. They've got bigger fish to fry.
And definitely not Gollum, because
he's basically naked.
I think he's rocking a little loincloth, but I don't know that it ever says for sure.
I don't think it specifies, but that's how we imagine it.
Yes.
Yuck.
Anywho.
Yeah, so we're back with Frodo and Sam finally. Mm-hmm. They're alive and wandering through barren mountains. They're called Eminmuir.
Eminmuir.
They're trying to get to Mordor, basically. Yeah. And they're wandering through these mountains, and they're just getting lost and having to double back. And they're like, oh my God.
Right.
Where are we?
Yeah.
We did not think this through. But they eventually get themselves to a cliff where they can see Mordor. Mm-hmm. But they have no clear path down to it.
Yeah.
They're like, what do we do?
Yeah. And then Sam's like, or one of them's like, if only we had rope. And then Sam's like, rope. Hey,
I have a rope.
I snagged some rope out of one of those elven boats.
Yep. And they also are being followed by Gollum.
Yes.
He's like tracking them.
And they know it.
Yeah. So they're also like kind of have that in the back of their mind.
Right.
So they keep going north and finally reach a spot where they think they can climb down. Mm-hmm. And they both end up falling at various points.
Yeah. Frodo's just like, Sam's like, we need to be careful. Frodo's like, I've done this before. Like, he just goes for it.
Yeah.
And, he has a little bit of mishap, but he's actually pretty brave about it.
Yeah. Which actually does also kind of happen in the film. He, rushes down.
But I can't remember, because at first Sam was like, well, I should probably go first because I'm likely to fall.
Right.
But he also doesn't have as much experience, so he was kind of hesitating. So Frodo's like, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But then I think he kind of comes back up after he kind of assesses the situation. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a dicey way down, but they get there.
They get there. eventually have to use the rope to get all the way down, but they're down.
Yeah, and then they're sad about it because they're like, I don't want to leave the rope. One, for Gollum to follow.
Right.
But for two, it's such a nice rope. And then gave it a little tug and it came right down. Frodo was like, what kind of knot, man, did you use?
Yeah.
Sam's like, I think it's the rope.
Yeah, because it's an elvish rope.
It is. And obviously that's the answer. But at first Frodo was like, well, thank goodness we got down here safely.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, you're down. So, I mean, it held for what it needed to do.
Right. But also Sam knows his way around rope.
Yeah.
And knots and such. That's a thing that he prides himself on.
Exactly.
So thank you, Elven Rope, for being fantastic.
Exactly. And
And it didn't matter because Gollum can scale walls like a little spider anyway.
yeah, it's almost like he has grippies, like he
Spider-Man
evolved
over here.
in
like,
the cave.
What radioactive something bit him? I don't
Yeah,
know. Oh, well, the ring, I guess.
The ring, it's radioactive. Yeah, it's why he can see in the dark and apparently scale walls.
Yeah. Like I said, I guess he's a little Spider-Man.
He is a creepy little Spider-Man.
I'll have to come up with a little jingle instead of Spider-Man. It'll be like, Gollum Man, Gollum Man. Anyway.
Oh, Gollum. Speaking of which, this is when Gollum catches up to them.
Yep.
One night, they're just, huddling down for the night, sheltering from the cold. Mm-hmm. They notice him getting closer.
Yeah, they're not, restfully sleeping. They're, sleeping with one eye open.
Yeah.
At least.
Exactly. And lo and behold, Gollum attacks, and Frodo pulls Sting.
Yeah. You've seen this before.
Yep. And he puts it to Gollum's neck.
Yep.
And Gollum's like, all right.
Uncle, I give.
Yeah. Yeah, don't kill me. So they tie his hands with the rope, and he tries to escape a couple times, but
he
eventually
whines and cries that it burns because, elvish things are too pure and lovely, I guess, for his little grimy, monstery little tookus. Mm-hmm. So they eventually just have to trust that he's not going to run off.
Yeah.
They make him swear.
On the precious.
Yeah.
And that he's going to lead them to, basically he's going to lead them to Mordor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's vowed on the precious. So they still don't trust him, but I think it gives them a little...
They believe they have an understanding.
Yeah, exactly. They've come to an agreement for the time.
Yes.
So he's leading them. They go through the marsh that surrounds Mordor. He tells them to ignore the lights.
Mm-hmm. I know he has certain names and phrases for things that you see where he gets it, but it is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Rather than saying there's faces and eyes, he says don't follow the lights, aka the eyes, the white eyes in the water. Right. It's like, oh, that's interesting. He's very weirdly, he's a lot of imagery when he's describing or calling things. So
yeah,
which is interesting.
And he's obviously, it's just how he's evolved over the weird life he's lived, but he's oddly perceptive and knows where everything is, what everything's called, kind of its history.
I feel like he's been skittering around these parts for a long time.
Yeah.
And he also has 2 minds to keep track of it all.
That's right. So, yeah, he has this weird level of knowledge that makes him a valuable guide in this area, for sure.
Too bad he's crazy and evil.
Yeah, even though he's not to be trusted.
Right.
So.
Right.
But they make it through the marshes. They're hungry. All they have is the lembas bread from the elves.
Which for them, it's at least it satiates them and it does give them some of their energy back.
Yeah.
But man cannot live on lembas bread alone.
No.
Eventually, you're going to need some more substance
Exactly.
in your diet.
Exactly. And Gollum is like, not eating it.
No. Again, anything that's like elf made, like, is...
Yeah.
It burns us, you know?
Yeah.
He can't consume or touch anything elven made, and I don't know if it's because...
He's so
their magic is
corrupted.
pure and he's corrupted, or what? It's got to be that.
Got to be that, yeah. So Sam is obviously suspicious of Gollum. He won't sleep until he's sure Gollum is asleep.
And even then, he's like
only partially asleep.
Yeah.
So one morning they actually wake and find Gollum is gone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Sam's like, yeah, Frodo, get some sleep. I'll wake you up.
And he falls asleep too.
Oops. But luckily, they didn't get their throats slit, so
that's right.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah. Gollum is gone, but he comes back.
I guess thankfully.
Thankfully, sure. And eventually Sam and Frodo seem to come to the realization that at least for now they can trust him.
Right. He's not going to run off and he's not going to kill them,
At this juncture.
Yeah.
So they go through the marshes and they're there for several days.
Yeah.
Like a long time they're in the marshlands.
It did seem like it was a bigger stretch of land.
Mm-hmm. And they see a Nazgul fly overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And Gollum's like, the Nazgul see everything.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I can't remember if the book described that the Nazgul could see them or, like, could kind of see, like, Gollum or something, but I don't remember. But it kind of gave, like, an aerial view of, like, what you could see of the three of them.
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't know why. But
yeah. So they're all kind of like on guard at this point because they know that the Nazgul report to Sauron.
Right. I mean, luckily they have their elven cloaks or whatever, but like, in a marsh, like, where are you going to hide?
Exactly. There's, nothing.
A tuft of grass.
Yeah. Or get into that weird water with all those deads.
No thank you.
Nah. Exactly. So on the 5th morning, they wake up and are very close to Mordor. They're like there.
Right. We finally get, because basically Frodo was like, take me to the gates, because that's where I want to go. That's where I need to go.
Yep, that's where I need to be. And the land dries up. It's barren. There's poison pits. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Just poison pits.
Yeah. Like in Princess Bride, there's like the lightning sand or whatever that you can just like sink into. I imagine it's like that, only like, poisonous, boiling death.
Yeah, it's just like weird, bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah, gurgly pits. Mm-hmm. Oof. My autocorrect corrected Frodo to Freedy.
I just saw that. I was like, who's Freedy? Where's Freedy?
Of course. So one night, Frodo actually wakes up and hears Gollum talking to himself.
And is it Frodo or Sam that hears him?
Well, I think in the film it's Sam, but in the book it's Frodo.
Okay. And maybe that's where I confused it, because I had the movie in my head, you know, so I was thinking it was Sam listening in, so.
Yeah, I think.
Well, at least this just informs his, okay, I know what's going on here.
Right, yeah. And Gollum is talking to himself about being torn between getting the ring back and his vow to obey Frodo as the Master of the Ring. Mm-hmm. And so we get that little insight. So there is a part of Gollum that's like, I made this promise.
Right.
And I need to keep it.
Right.
And the other side is like, no, that's ours.
Right. But then the quote-unquote good side is also like, well, we could still keep it. Mm-hmm. But,
yeah.
Or at least agrees, like, yeah, I guess that's kind of keeping it, but still getting what we want. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's completely innocent versus completely evil.
Right.
It's sort of like they're both working to the same ends,
Yes.
just in a different way. But yes, one part of him does kind of want to be good and belong, but it also too wants the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fully consumed by
Yeah.
it. There's no part of him that would let the ring go, essentially.
Yeah.
So, whenever so now they get to the gates. Sam and Frodo are like, thanks, bud, for leading us here. Now let's get down to the gates.
Right.
And Gollum's like, nah. Because
Right.
he sees another Nazgul fly over. And he's like, this is a bad omen. I'm thinking pump the brakes. Let's not. And Frodo's like, listen, I have to. So
Back off.
here's the knife. Let's move. And so he has no choice.
Right. And his motivations are not, oh yeah, this is too dangerous. I mean, he'll say, this is too dangerous, you don't want to go that way.
Right.
But really, it's, no, don't go there, because, you're going to destroy the ring, and no, let's go a different way, a longer way.
Yeah.
More around where because they'll capture you straight up if you go through that door, but
Yeah.
if you go this back way.
The secret way.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think also, because Gollum doesn't want Sauron to have the ring. But he knows that Frodo is going to destroy the ring.
Right.
So.
Or at least has an inkling, you know, if he hasn't outright said it.
Yeah.
But I feel like he knows their plans at this point. But they're kind of like, well, why didn't you tell us that before? He's like, hey, you said this is where you wanted to go. You said to take you here, so this is where I brought you. I don't know all your plans.
Right.
Or have any of my own. Lies.
Exactly. So yeah, they're at the teeth of Mordor. Oof.
That doesn't sound menacing at all.
Oof. That sounds not good.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how to actually get in.
Right.
And Gollum's like, no.
Right.
We can't.
Right.
And Sam's like, well, why did we come then?
Right, I was gonna say, and then that's when Sam's like, then why'd you bring us here? It's like, because that's what you said you wanted.
Yeah, which is a fair point.
It is a fair point.
Both sides. So Frodo's like, we have to get in there no matter what. And Gollum tells them about the secret entrance.
Which rightfully so, Sam's a little like, oh, no, you know, because again, it's like, you could have told us when we said this is where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
What kind of plan do you have for us on this secret path? But they kind of don't really have much of a choice.
They really don't.
So, but I like that Frodo's like, just so you know, you swore on the ring.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do me any harm. So
just keep that in
mind.
mind.
Keep that in mind. Because the ring is treacherous and it'll hold you to your word, you know, and the ring itself has its own
agenda.
Yeah. So
exactly.
It will manipulate you to your end to reach its own.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Exactly. It can't be trusted.
No.
No one can be trusted.
No one can be trusted.
Except Sam.
Yep. Frodo and Sam are trustworthy little folk. Everyone else, suspect.
Yep.
But, yep. Then they follow the path around the back of the kingdom, past a fortress that was once a seal door called the Tower of the Moon. And this move is pretty risky and guarded by orcs and the Silent Watchers.
That sounds ominous.
Yes.
The Silent Watchers.
They're just all these little stations of all these... evil folk just lurking about.
Lurking around. And this makes Sam and Frodo pretty suspicious, but
about the way that he's taking them. Yeah.
But they're still kind of like, what else can we do?
Right.
We don't know anything about any of this, so they kind of just are almost like at his mercy at this point, which is very precarious.
Yeah.
It's a Gollum, the like power dynamic between them and Gollum is super weird, because on the one hand, he is serving them and bound by his vow on the ring, but also they're dependent on him because he's the one who knows the land that they're in.
Right.
So it's this very like back and forth kind of power balance.
Right. It's like he doesn't have to help them necessarily, but other than the promise he made, and also he wants the precious back.
Yes.
And this is the only way to get it is to be close to them. So he's got to play ball.
Yeah. So the dynamic between these three is very interesting.
Right. Because they need him close so that they know he's not a threat.
Yeah.
And they need him to take them around.
Yeah.
But they also have something he desperately wants.
Exactly.
And he'd be in danger if he had it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, so.
Oh, yeah. It would probably more easily fall into the hands of Sauron if Gollum had it.
Oh, yeah.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, he could probably evade capture easily.
For a little while.
For a little while. But he's been captured by the orcs before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Of course they could do so again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're on their way. They see more Nazgul. They're just seeing the Nazgul. Just left and right.
This is why we can't have eagles flying us to Mount Doom.
Exactly.
In case you were wondering again, I think we've addressed it before, but I'll say it again. This right here, all these Nazgul that are in the sky, this is why.
Yeah. For everyone, why didn't the eagles just fly him straight? Because, listen.
And the Nazgul are not just like fumbling like bats in the sky. Like
they're fierce.
Formidable.
Yeah.
And so are their riders.
Exactly. So. And, no man can kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. So, Gollum also senses that there are men in the area. I don't know how he senses this.
Yeah, I know.
But he does.
Yeah. I don't know. He has heightened senses, I suppose.
I guess, yeah. From living in the dark so long.
Right. And being so corrupted, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. But these are like the southern men. They have like long dark hair and a red flag.
Mm-hmm. Were these the ones that had like kind of like jewelry and stuff going on?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No Oliphants yet, though.
No Oliphants yet. So, but they keep, they make their way.
Yeah.
They're sleeping in the day and traveling at night at Gollum's advice. Yeah.
Well, because he doesn't like, what do they call it? What's he call it? The yellow face?
Yes, the sun.
He calls the sun the yellow face.
Yep.
He doesn't like the sun. It burns.
It burns us. Yeah.
Everything burns his frail little body. Get some sunblock.
Yeah.
Eat a real meal. I'm sure you'll feel better.
I know.
You need to calm down, man.
Yeah, get it together. It seems very vulnerable.
Yep.
But, whatever. They're basically out of food at this point, and they're hungry.
Yeah.
And so Gollum actually hunts for them.
Yeah, because they do have some lembas bread left, but Sam's trying to kind of ration it.
Yeah.
To at least make it there. He's not really sure that they're going to have enough for the journey back.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's like, we got to eat something more than this.
Right.
Something different.
Exactly.
So he actually is kind of like, he asks Gollum, like, hey, would you please?
Yeah.
And Gollum does.
And he gets rabbits. He eats his raw.
Right.
And Sam is like, I don't think so.
Yeah, we can't be doing that because we're hobbits. We can't
probably get sick.
Yeah, so we need to cook him. So he makes a nice little stew.
Yeah.
And Gollum's just beside himself. He's like, you're ruining them. He's like, listen, you ate your rabbit. You ate your coney the way that you want to eat it. But these are ours because you caught them for us.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm going to eat it how I want.
Yeah. So him and Frodo have themselves a hot little dinner.
Nice.
Even though Frodo's kind of like, it's not the greatest idea to be having a fire.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Right.
Kind of just got to go with the flow.
True.
And then they hear voices.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the fire drew them to them, but you could also say that they were already on their tail days before that because
They were.
So.
Exactly. And so the tall men appear and they have spears. And one of them introduces himself as Faramir, Captain of Gondor.
What?
Sound familiar?
It should.
It should. Sam and Frodo are like, we're hobbits. We were with a group. We are no longer anymore. Mm-hmm. In our group was Aragorn and Boromir.
Yeah, we left from...
Rivendell.
On an errand.
Yeah.
And remember, there was kind of like a big meeting. I don't know if you heard about it, but...
That was us.
Yeah.
And Faramir is obviously startled at the mention of Boromir.
Right.
He's like, okay. Mm-hmm. So there are others with him, one named Mablung and the other named Damrod. I mean, this is not really important after this, but those are their names.
Those don't sound like people names.
They don't. They don't. But...
Just saying.
And Gollum obviously disappears at this point. He hightails it.
Yeah, but is this when they kind of have the conversation about, like, talking about their journey and their companions, and he's like, well, because I found my brother in a boat dead, so you want to tell me how that happened?
Yeah, that's when that conversation happens.
He's like, last I saw him, he was fine.
Yeah.
Or am I skipping ahead a little bit?
No, that's essentially when this happens. Okay. They have the conversation, Faramir and Frodo have that conversation. I think they fight the southern men.
Oh,
first.
yes, they do. They kind of catch them, and then the southern men come about. Yeah. You're right.
And what's interesting is this is when they see the Oliphants, mm-hmm. and it's being ridden by people of Gondor and crushes the enemy.
Oh, which I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I was like,
instead of the other way around. What? But maybe in Return of the King, that's what happens. Yeah. They have the other side has them. Because in Return of the King, that's Legolas and Gimli fighting the Oliphants.
Right.
So maybe that is then and now. Maybe both sides have them.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Or they get stolen from, I don't know.
Any of these.
Because kind of in the movie, like the men with the jewelry and the gold and the flags, they're the ones that are riding on the Oliphants. So.
Yeah, because Sam and Frodo see them coming in before Faramir catches them.
Right.
So,
but then here, there's a whole different thing going on.
Yeah. But, what? And then after the men of Gondor fight the southern men, then Faramir has a chance to talk to Frodo.
Right.
And he wants to know why they left Rivendell. Mm-hmm. And how they got separated. And Faramir knows that Boromir is dead, but Sam and Frodo don't.
Right.
And he thinks that Sam and Frodo know that Boromir is dead and, had betrayed him to his death.
Yeah, because he kind of keeps asking Frodo about him, and Frodo isn't like, we were best friends. Yeah. He was just like, yes, he was part of my company, and we traveled together. He's like, yeah, but you're not acting like you guys were on good terms. It's
right.
Like, don't twist my words.
Yeah.
But maybe he betrayed my trust a little.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know that he says that at first. It takes a little bit of coaxing, but...
Right. Yeah. So, they're having that conversation, and eventually Faramir does tell them that Boromir was his brother, and asks if Boromir carried anything, and Frodo's like, the horn. And they continue in that conversation for a while until Faramir kind of is satisfied that Frodo and Sam actually, like, have no idea that Boromir was dead.
But that they really did know him and travel with him.
Exactly. So he doesn't suspect them anymore. But he still wonders about, like, the logistics of how Boromir died. Because Boromir is, like, one of the Númenóreans and a very skilled warrior.
Right.
So pretty difficult to kill.
Right.
So he's, you know, rightfully curious.
Right. And it's, of course, he's like, yeah, the one thing I really want to know from you, you can't tell me.
Yeah.
But also then he's like, well, dang, if he's dead, then what about our other friends that we were traveling with?
Right.
But thankfully, Faramir is kind of generous and is like, well, I mean, Boromir was put into a boat and kind of had a bit of a funeral, kind of, you know, he was put in the boat and sent on. So someone had to have done it. So at least part of your company's got to be alive.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a nice thought.
Hopefully you're right.
Yeah.
And Faramir tells them that he's taking them to Minas Tirith, the city of Gondor.
Let's go.
Minas Tirith. So they are on their way. Obviously, it's going to be a trek. So they have like a hideout that they're going to chill in.
And they blindfold them on the way because they don't want them to know where they're...
Oh, Dakota's home. He told me.
I figured that's what that was. It just, it was a loud noise and it surprised me.
Yeah.
And it went,
yeah. Nothing in our house is quiet.
Ours either. I need like about 10 cans of WD-40 probably to fix that issue.
Yeah. And this house is old, so it's like 75 or something. So it's like pretty old.
My house is as old as I am. It was built the year I was born.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I know. I kind of was like, that's nice. But I guess the older I get, so does my house. So.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
It's all good.
She's still standing and so am I.
That's right. That's all you can ask for.
Right. The house nor the man that lives within is quiet.
That's right. He was also like...
No shade. I just thought it was just really funny.
He's also like getting sick now.
Oh.
So that's why he left early. He was like, yeah. I'm not feeling this.
Poor guy. Well, and then last time he had like a sneeze or something that was so loud.
He sneezes so loud.
It's so funny. He cracks me up.
Yeah. But, so yeah, we're going to the hideout. Hobbits are blindfolded. They call this hideout the Window of the Sunset.
Which sounds lovely.
Sounds awesome. It's essentially a cave behind a waterfall.
Which could be nice.
Which I'm sure is awesome.
I mean, maybe when the sun set,
it like
it shines through.
Yeah.
Could be a little romantic spot, but unfortunately, that's not the vibe we're living in.
Nah, it isn't.
Maybe in a different book, but not this one.
Yeah. This is where Aragorn takes Arwen. Why are the names so similar? That
always drove me crazy. I was like, that's, I know that's going to happen. The siblings, you give them similar names.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But
Arwen and Éowyn, like...
Come on.
Win and win. The wins. You can't.
Wins?
You can't.
Yes. So...
You're going to confuse the poor man.
You're confusing us all.
You're setting him up to accidentally say the wrong name. And then he's going to get in real trouble.
So much
trouble.
Listen,
I just fought with her family side by side. It had nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
I swear.
I swear it. Yeah. But either way, after the war, this is where Aragorn takes Arwen.
Aw.
I don't know that. I'm just saying. It could be.
I was like, for real? But yes, absolutely. Would you like to write that side fiction, please? I guess fan fiction?
Yep. We will begin this fan fiction post-haste. So yeah, they're in the Window of the Sunset. They get unblindfolded once they're in. And they're eating, having a chat, and Sam accidentally lets it slip that Boromir tried to take the ring from Frodo. And
occasionally his emotions get the best of him sometimes.
Yes.
Not very often.
Yes.
But a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
But this also does kind of answer Faramir's question.
Right.
Because he was, even after the conversation with Frodo, he's still like, but something had to have happened. Something...
Right. He's still pushing them for answers that they
Yes.
can't necessarily give.
Right. But when he hears that Boromir tried to take the ring, he's kind of like, okay, that's what led to his death.
Right.
Essentially. And he's shocked, but assures them that he has no desire for the ring.
Yeah. And I think even Frodo kind of softens the blow and is like, he was a good man. It just... That's what the ring does.
That's what the ring does. Yeah.
You know?
It really is. And so Frodo tells Faramir that they are attempting to get into Mordor to destroy it. In the crack of doom.
Though I feel like the whole time, do they ever really tell him it's a ring? Or do they just simply say, we have Isildur's Bane?
I think that's it.
And we're trying to destroy it. He doesn't tell him necessarily what it is.
Right.
So just to kind of protect its, you know, it's not like, oh, we found the ring in his pocket. This is the thing. You know, it's just like they keep kind of referring to it as Isildur's Bane.
Yes, that's right. So, but he is surprised that that's their plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because anybody else...
Yeah.
Just as the enemy suspects, anyone else would use it for their own means, not get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, at this point, I think Faramir's kind of decided that he's going to let them go, but they don't, that's not when they leave.
Right. Because he kind of alludes to it, but he's also like, but if I do, then my life is forfeit. Even then he says, you know, it's to my forfeit if I let you go. So he's kind of like still mulling the decision or like delaying his final say-so of the decision that he's made.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I believe Faramir's men at this point have like found Gollum and they're intending to kill him, but Frodo's, you know, asked them not to. He's like, please, you know, he's our guide and he's kind of under my, just like Gollum has promised not to harm Frodo. I feel like Frodo has also promised not to harm Gollum. So he's like, please don't kill him. He's kind of made a promise to help us, you know. I know he seems evil, but
he's all we got.
He's with us. So, of course, Frodo has to go to Gollum and persuade him to follow him. It seems like he's, like, quote-unquote tricking him, but at the same time, Gollum should realize pretty quickly that, like, Frodo didn't really trick him necessarily. It's like he just said what he had to say to get him away to get him to safety. So it's like, to me, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
He saved your life, and they even tell him so later, but...
Yeah. But
whatever.
Gollum is just so ready to believe he's been betrayed.
Right. Well, because he wants any out
that
he can get.
Exactly.
So, you know, of course he's going to... But, and, you know, Faramir's men are rougher than Frodo thought they would be. It's like, hey, you said you weren't going to hurt him.
Yeah.
Come on.
Please stop.
But again, this is one of those places, because he's in this pool of water trying to get a fish to eat. And apparently to even look upon this pool of water is punishable by death.
Yes. Okay.
Where is the sign postage for these secret places that you're not allowed to even look upon?
That has, you know, there's nothing guarding it, nothing keeping people from arriving there.
Right. I would be ticked if I, like, showed up somewhere and was like, ooh, this is lovely. And then just got, like, captured or shot in the... I'd be, you're not supposed to be here. How would I know that?
Yeah. I didn't know. I don't know where I am.
I don't live here.
Put up a fence, people.
Right. Where's your privacy fence and do not enter private property sign?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Or have it, like, magically protect... Like, what do you want from me?
Get it together.
I don't live in this region. It'd be like driving into Iowa and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you looked at that field. You're not allowed to look at that.
Yeah.
Death. I don't live here. Come on.
Everything is punishable by death.
It
surprised
seems
so many
so.
people are alive.
I was going to say, why aren't more people... I mean, there's a lot of people making exceptions for our folks, which is great.
Yeah.
But why are so many needing to be made?
Exactly.
In this case, it's like they can even see that Gollum is kind of like a somewhat evil creature, so...
Yeah, he's a creepy little guy.
Right, I get that, but yeah, just the fact that they're like, even to look upon it is punishable by death. I'm like, for real, bro?
Come on. Come on. Yeah. So, Faramir interrogates Gollum at this point, trying to find out. I don't know what he wants to know from Gollum.
I don't know.
Actually.
And
it's just not
sort of
clear.
Yeah. They're even like arguing over the fish. He's like, you're not supposed to take those fish. He's like, he like drops it. He's like, fine, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But then later he's like, I mean, okay, you can have the fish. It's just like...
Yeah, make up your mind.
Right. But yeah, I'm not sure what he's trying to get out of Gollum either, other than like to see if he has other information, or maybe he thinks he's trying to find his intentions toward Frodo and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the movie, that's what it seems like. But I don't know that he's that
invested.
Yeah,
in the book.
At this point.
Yeah, I agree. It's very unclear what his motivations are with Gollum. But Frodo is like, please don't hurt him. Please don't hurt him.
Right.
And Faramir finally is kind of like, well, Gollum, we can release Gollum. I don't care.
Right.
As long as he's, Frodo's servant or whatever.
Right. But if I find you in these parts without Sam and Frodo,
you dead.
Done.
So, but because Faramir doesn't trust Gollum.
Right.
I mean, he's not to be trusted,
right.
period. So,
right.
Yeah. But that's it. Faramir's like, all right, see ya. And Frodo and Sam continue on their journey trying to get into Mordor.
Do we really does he mention the part again where like he is forfeit for like letting them go? Because he does make that comment.
He does make the comment. I don't know
but
that
he doesn't say it
again.
But in the movie, they make a big point of him to say, like, if you let them go, then your life is forfeit. And he's like, then my life is forfeit,
Yeah.
I just love that actor.
Yeah.
And he is so sweet. He does such a good job. But
he does a great job.
But yeah, I feel like here they don't really mention it again. It's just like, yeah, okay.
And what's really crazy is the actor who plays Faramir looks shockingly similar to Sean Bean.
Oh yeah, like, the casting
insanely similar.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, they look like the siblings.
Yeah.
So, excellent job on that front. So yeah, he tells them sayonara. He warns them to beware of the territory and not drink any waters flowing out of Imlad Morgul, the Valley of the Living Death. He gives them food. It says staves to support them in their fatigue. I'm not sure what that is. But he gives them supplies.
Right.
Things
to help them, with their weariness, food,
exactly.
Things to, continue.
They get their stuff. They get Gollum back. They're blindfolded, obviously, as they're taken out of the area.
Because, again, it's like, kind of like in the first movie, it's like, well, blindfold Gollum, and Gollum's, like, all upset about it. So Frodo's like, just blindfold all of us. It's cool.
Right, exactly. Cool. Yeah. So their journey continues.
Yep. And Sam, of course, is still untrusting of Gollum, and just hopes for the day that he can be rid of him. He's not purposefully nasty to him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't trust him and doesn't like him. Yeah. And he is aware of Gollum's two sides because he calls them Slinker and Stinker. I'm assuming Slinker is more of the Smeagol side, and then Gollum is the Stinker. But he recognizes that neither one is really all that great.
Right, exactly.
Which we don't really get a lot of Smeagol talk in this book, do we?
Not really.
He's mostly referred to as Gollum.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
he's leading them, and Frodo reminds Sam of Gollum's help so far. So it's sort of like, yeah, we don't trust him, but he has helped us. So
Let's just keep on the positive.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is the moment in the book where he's sort of like, I can just see that Gollum probably thinks that because Frodo is kind to him, he's blind to his true intentions. But Sam's like, no, he's like, I know Frodo, and I know that although he's kind, he also sees more than he's letting on. But I do like in this book, like, Sam knows Frodo very well. Like, even in the previous one, that's how he knew to follow him. It's like he knows his friend to a T.
Yeah.
And not only just, like, knows the way that he thinks, but he knows, like, what a good hobbit he is and respects him very much. Yeah. And I just think it's very sweet.
It is very sweet. And I think Frodo and Sam, obviously, Frodo and Sam are great, but I think what's really nice about their journey in the book is, I think we said this already, but there isn't any, like, Frodo doesn't really become corrupted by the ring in this. There isn't, like,
there's no tension and mistrust.
There's no tension, with him and Sam specifically. He's never, like, worried that Sam's going to take the ring. We don't see, like, Gollum. They must be playing. We don't see Gollum, like, trying to get into Frodo's ear, like, ooh, Sam wants the ring for himself. He's going to take it.
Right.
We don't see that, which I like.
Yeah, Frodo's not easily influenced. He's,
right.
Like I said, he's kind, but he's not unaware of what's truly going on.
Yeah.
He's just trying to put his best foot forward in treating this creature that is seemingly helping them.
Yeah. And, I mean, it not only is it just him and his personality, his impulse to be kind first, but it's also kind of playing his cards close to the vest. Like, Gollum's gonna assume that I don't suspect him because I'm nice to him, but I'm always suspicious.
Right. They think they have multiple conversations, kind of like, we still need to be wary.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, let's keep our eyes peeled.
Right. He hasn't tried to betray us in a while, but
yeah,
exactly.
So he's guiding them to the Valley of Minas Morgul and the Tower of the Moon. They keep moving. Then they hear some thunder. They see some troops who is being led by the Lord of the Nazgul.
Great. That guy.
God. So Frodo begins to get kind of afraid that it's taking them too long to get in there.
Yeah.
And that it's too late.
Well, because they're seeing all these pockets of, like, guarded areas that are just, like, more and more evil minions of Sauron.
Yeah, and it starts to become, like, a very almost impossible to accomplish task.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, they've been essentially close to Mordor this whole time.
Right.
And they're just trying to, like, get in.
Right.
As opposed to it being, like, a long journey over a lot of land.
Right. It's like, we've reached our destination. We're just trying to find the door in.
We're here.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evil things at every side.
Yeah, exactly. We're just being held up left and right.
Right.
So that's, which I can just imagine that's wearying.
Oh, of course.
So, but they're onward and upward.
Yeah.
Literally, because this is when Gollum gets them to the stairs.
Yes.
Which are called Cirith Ungol. All of these names, they're so menacing. Minas Morgul.
Yeah.
It just sounds...
Yeah. Serious own goal. It's like, oh, man.
This just sounds evil.
Yeah. But I think they're kind of reluctant. They're like, well, I mean, obviously we can't stay here because of this, but I'm not sure about going up them steps either.
Yeah. The steps look daunting, but that's kind of the situation that they're in this whole book.
Yeah.
Is, well, this path that you're laying in front of me seems impossible.
Yeah.
But I can't stay here and I can't go back.
Right.
So.
Right. Him and Sam both are always like, this is what's got to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, this is the task that has been laid before us. This is the task that Frodo was put upon Frodo that he, not necessarily reluctantly took, but,
Wasn't pumped.
Right. He wasn't like, yes! Me! He was just sort of,
bearer!
Right. He was just sort of like, okay, obviously I need to be the one to do this, because...
That's much as clear.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, stairs. Oof.
Right,
Which I just had another thought of in the last book in the ACOTAR series, the 10,000 Stairs.
Yeah.
It sounds like what is it? Cirith Ungol.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't say how many stairs are on this, but it does. They are like a ton of stairs.
Right. Unfortunately, they did not have Nestus Fury to get up there
They
quickly.
They didn't. And Frodo almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't have the scene on the stairs where Sam is like going back down the stairs.
No.
And blah, blah. We didn't have any of that.
This does not happen. We do not.
Nope.
We don't have this splitting of the Sam and Frodo over lembas bread. That doesn't happen.
Nope, we do not.
But Frodo does kind of assure Sam that at this point they need to trust Gollum, because no matter how selfish Gollum is, he's not a friend to the orcs, and therefore, can be considered a reliable guide, at this point.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
one night, because they're on the stairs for a while.
They are.
So this is kind of like different levels of the journey, but Sam awakens to find Gollum like caressing Frodo,
which is
in his
weird.
sleep. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So Sam accuses Gollum of sneaking around in the dark, and Gollum is obviously offended, The truth can sting, huh? But he says he wasn't sneaking. But of course he was. And I think at one point he's like, then what were you doing? And he's like, sneaking. It's like...
That's a very Gollum thing to say, though.
Like,
I wasn't sneaking. Well, what were you doing? Sneaking?
Yeah, he was just like, we're mimicking back his words to him, sneaking. It's like, shut up. Just shut up. But of course, Frodo wakes up and kind of settles it, and he tells Gollum, he's like, you're free to go off by yourself if you want, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And Gollum just affirms that he's like, no, I have to finish what I said I would start, because is Frodo just kind of like, I think we can get it from here.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. You told us this path. You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
No, I want to.
Right.
Oh, do you? Boy, thanks. Get out of here.
Yeah. So they get to they reach the end of the stairs, and they're going into this dark cave. The smell's terrible. And
I think Gollum has disappeared at this point, right?
As soon as they get into the cave, that's when he disappears. He
See ya.
leaves. And Gollum does not tell them, but they are in Shelob's lair.
Yeah, he just says, like, this is a path, this is a cave.
Yeah,
he doesn't say, oh, a giant, evil, like, sentient spider lives here.
Right. Exactly. He just leads them in and scurries away. Mm-hmm. And so the cave is totally dark, and they can only go forward by, like, hand to the wall.
Yes.
Kind of thing. So
and at one point, like they hold hands because like it's so dark. Like if they aren't careful, they can get separated from each other.
Exactly. So they're just trying to like fumble along, and they become aware that there is danger afoot.
Oh yeah, it's probably pretty palpable by this point by the smell.
Yeah.
And the lack of
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they hear the hissing. And Sam reminds Frodo of, that says Phil, that's supposed to be file, of the file from Galadriel of the light.
I know, it's like you got these gifts, but it was probably so dang long ago, you kind of forgot, you know?
Exactly.
It's like that old chapstick in the back of your purse. You're just like, oh, I do have
chapstick. Yeah. So he pulls out the vial and it like shines light in the cave and they just see a bunch of eyeballs.
Oh, great.
So that's concerning. And obviously this is Shelob.
What? Concerning, but why? Why would that be concerning?
Just so many eyes.
Just so lovely. Just
Hundreds
sparkling under the light.
And it is a gigantic spider called Shelob.
Yep.
Who guards the passages around Mordor.
Yep.
Which, not great.
No. Her and Gollum kind of have a understanding, you know?
They do.
I think she lets him, you know, go about as he pleases and he sends
Her
people
food.
her way.
Yeah.
And she kind of has like a knowledge of what goes on about. And even Sauron's sort of like, hey, she blocks a passage to my realm.
Yep.
She, you know, sure she gets an orc or two, but I can
cares?
spare it.
Yeah,
You know, she serves a purpose.
Exactly.
She's not hurting me any.
Exactly. So they're like, we gotta get out of here. Mm-hmm. They are initially caught in the webs, but...
Well, and at one point they even, like, run into a portion... And maybe this is before they have the light on, or maybe it's after, I can't remember. But, like, it's almost like hitting a wall. It's not even, like, hitting a sticky web that they get caught in. It's just a wall that they cannot get through.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that's the webs. I think that there's webs, but it's also, like, a part of the passage that they just can't. But it's, like, that's really the way they need to get away from her.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there's, like, more webs everywhere.
Exactly. Just so many.
Yeah.
But they have sting and cut through all the webs. And they have the light from Galadriel. And they're trying to get out. And then they see the orcs. Yeah. And so they have to hide their light so it doesn't give away their position to the orcs. So now they have orcs to worry about and the spider to worry about.
And fumbling through this maze of a cave.
Yeah.
Trying to find the way out.
Exactly.
Even trying to go out the way they came. It's like...
Yeah.
How do you get there now?
Yeah, exactly. So they're in a bad way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Shelob attacks them.
Yep.
Dang. Obviously, she's very quick.
Very.
She's got 8 legs. Of course she can move quickly.
Right.
And she's just like between Sam and Frodo.
Yeah.
Bing bong, bing bong.
But they're, they're feisty little brave hobbits. They kind of don't have time to think twice, but, they just fight because it's got to be done.
Yeah. They have to. They have no choice.
Yep.
And while this is going on, Gollum shows back up, of course.
Yep. Yeah. Sam's trying to warn Frodo of like a impending attack, and then Gollum comes up behind Sam and grabs his mouth. The way that like his hand is described, like clammy, and his like long fingers. I was like, ugh!
Gross.
And so it's obvious now that he betrayed the hobbits by leading them into Shelob's lair, and him and Sam have a bit of a brawl.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think Sam has Sting at this point.
Or he has his own weapon, and I should have gone back to reread it, but it said something about him like coming down on his arm, with something, and then he, you know, kind of hit him somewhere else with something. I don't think he had the sword yet, but he did grab something to defend himself against Gollum, or threaten Gollum with, because he lands some blows. At first I was like, did he chop his arm off? And I was like, no, I don't think he did. But it does say that he, like,
hit him with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gollum eventually, like, scurries away.
Right.
And in the midst of their struggle, Shelob has stuck Frodo with her little stinger.
And wrapped him in webs. So, like, Sam's having the struggle. We don't know what's happening to Frodo, but when we see Frodo next, he's
all mummied up.
Yeah. And
he's essentially, like, not moving.
Sam thinks he may be dead, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of time to think about it, because then Shelob attacks him.
Yeah, exactly. So Sam...
I think that's when he gets
the sword. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, like, on the ground near Frodo, because obviously Frodo was fighting her or whatever, but... Yeah, he gets the sword, and he then gets the light of... Is it
Elendil?
And he, you know, and both times for both of them, it's like they kind of, like, recite this incantation almost like in a language they say that they speak a language they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like the magic of the vial itself, like, sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Inspires them, or, and you know, imbues them, or I don't know, whatever. But it's cool.
Yeah, it's the elvish magic.
Yep.
Yeah, so Sam manages to stab one of Shelob's eyes, and then she's trying to squish him with her belly.
Yeah, because he tries to, like, stab her, and it's just sort of like, I'm not it's like, it said, like, she's not like a dragon who has a soft spot. You know, her only really tender place is her eyeballs. So, you know, it kind of failed when he tried to stab her, but then, she tries to crush him.
And impales herself on Sting.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but she's not, like, dead.
No, it takes a lot more than that to kill her. But she is wounded.
She's wounded. And
wants no more of this.
Yeah, she's over it and flees, basically. And so Sam rushes to Frodo, and he's like, I don't know.
He thinks he's dead.
He thinks he's dead. And
I mean, he checks him for
pulse.
Heartbeat and warmth and any sign that he's alive, and there just aren't there.
Yeah.
But he's torn. He's like, you know, I feel like I need to stay with my master, but I also need to complete the task that he was given.
Yeah. And he has, like, that struggle where he's like, Frodo was the one kind of chosen to carry the ring.
Right.
But he's dead.
Right.
So I guess I have to take it.
Yeah. And it says that he takes it and puts it on. Like, it talks about him bowing his head down to put the ring on and how heavy it feels. Which, you know, I liked that bit. I thought that was cool.
It was, It just, Those...
Is there demolition going?
No, they just... Whenever he throws the ball for Artie, he launches it, like, really hard. So...
That's funny.
It's gonna break something sometime. It absolutely is.
Yeah, probably.
Which, whatever, but, you know, dudes, you know?
Right.
So, Sam has the ring, and he tries to run, but orcs are, like...
Well, he hears voices, you know?
He hears them, like, coming, so he puts the ring on.
Which I thought that was so interesting, because obviously in the movie he doesn't do that,
right.
But I was like, Sam puts the ring on?
Yeah.
Sam puts the ring on.
So crazy. And so obviously he is unseen, but he can understand their language with the ring on.
Yeah. I thought that was cool too.
Yeah. It's so, like, it's weird how these little objects can, like, give you different abilities. Like, the vial they, like, speak this language that they don't know, and the ring lets him understand what the orcs are saying.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But since he can understand what they're saying, he hears them talking to one another. And so they explain that Sheila only eats living flesh.
Fresh meat.
Fresh meat. So Frodo's not dead. He's only paralyzed by her venom. So Sam's like amazed that Frodo is alive.
Right. And he's like, I knew I had a doubt of leaving his side.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's no way he could have known. And who
yeah.
knows how long that takes to wear off. You
Yeah.
know?
And there's nowhere he could have hidden Frodo.
No.
Like he literally had no other option.
Right.
But to take the ring and put it on.
Right. And I thought it was kind of lovely too that he was like, I hope that I succeed and able to come back to you. Like, basically he's like, I hope I can come back and find you and like give you a proper burial. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say burial, but like he wants to find his body again. He could to do it right, but right now was not the time. And I mean, I guess thank God, because he would have buried him alive. So
yeah. So, and that's the end.
Yeah, we find out that Frodo is in fact alive, and then the orcs are taking him to their hideout or whatever.
To the tower.
Yeah, to the tower. And so Sam's like, he's alive? Okay, I'm following.
Yeah.
And cliffhanger ending.
Yeah.
That's where it ends.
That's where it ends. Yeah. So, yep. Our boy Frodo is in the tower.
Yep.
Sam has the ring. That's it.
Yep.
So.
I think he was still wearing it when it ended.
Yeah, I think so.
So he's in the shadow realm or whatever.
Yeah. I
think it's interesting that it doesn't necessarily, or at least for Sam, it didn't draw anyone's attention. Mm-hmm. Where in the films it's sort of depicted that way. Mm-hmm. Like when in a scene that didn't happen in the book, like when they're at that, I can't think of the name of the city that like is attacked or whatever. When he's with Faramir, and he's like thinking about putting it on, whatever, and it like even that kind of draws an eye or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it did draw the eye when he was on
Weathertop.
Yeah,
because the Nazgul were close.
And not only that, but even after he ran away from Boromir, he kind of like went up to this like kind of throne spot or whatever, and he had that vision of everything.
Yeah,
but I don't know that it necessarily. I mean, I guess it did draw his attention, but not. It obviously not in a way where he knew who he was and where he was,
right?
Necessarily,
right.
But maybe that's what called the orcs. It doesn't say, but maybe that's what I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad that Sam. I mean, I guess we'll find out in the next book. But right now, Sam's just undercover. He's not under anyone's eye. He's just following behind.
Exactly. So
I thought I was like, what a cliffhanger.
I know. Such a cliffhanger. So what are our final thoughts here?
Why don't you go first? Because I'm pretty sure I agree with all of yours anyway, and I did not type mine up. Full disclosure.
I said 1 million out of 5, obviously.
Yes.
That's you anticipate it for them all.
We've already said Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, don't even bother asking for anything other than a 5. So
tip top. This is cream of the crop fantasy. So I actually really loved this one. Mm-hmm. It's super different in tone from Fellowship of the Ring, which it makes sense because you have lost all the comfort and innocence of the Shire.
Right.
You're totally in the evils of Mordor. It's much more ominous and
no more travel and then shelter, and then shelter. We're just traveling and hitting the grind,
Yeah, it's
feet to the grindstone the whole time for both groups.
Yeah, exactly. So, the first few chapters, it is a lot of Aragorn questioning, floundering, not sure, but it picks after chapter 2, really, the pace is just like instantly go, go, go. And I loved everything about the Ents. The Battle of Helm's Deep is probably one of my favorite battle scenes, period. Mm-hmm. Especially in the movies. I mean, it's so good in the movies. Yeah. But in general, it's just everything is, especially like the scene where like the sun is coming up and you have Gandalf and then the Riders of Rohan, and it's just like that epic. It gives you that like chills kind of.
Definitely.
It's so grand, and you know, I just love that. That's gonna get me every single time.
Oh yeah.
Every time that's gonna get me. So obviously Gandalf returns, and that's awesome. So everything just feels very huge in this one for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I really like the splitting of the stories. I know we talked about that at the beginning, but I just really think that works really well for the way that this book is written.
It does. It really does. And I guess surprisingly so, because you don't see it very often, but it's very, very effective here.
Super effective. It leads into, I know, like one particular scene in Return of the King, because the rest of the Fellowship has no idea about the fate of Sam, Frodo, and the Ring.
Right. Just as they had no idea the fate of their other companions either.
Exactly.
You know, but they all just have to assume that they're all playing.
Yeah. They have to
their part.
They have to assume that like no news is good news.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
So, but there's the one scene in Return of the King that capitalizes on the fact that none of them actually know.
Right.
And
they're all going that moment in particular that I believe you're talking about. Yeah, it's all on hope and faith that what they have set out to do is still being done.
Exactly.
And that the battle isn't lost.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of mystery in there, and I like it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, I like that too. But yeah, I agree. And we kind of like gushed over the things that we liked as we went anyway, so
yeah, I know. And I think
which isn't a bad thing.
No. And that's gonna happen in ones especially that we just have like a special place for is, we're just there's nothing about this book that I would criticize.
Right. I wonder how I would have experienced this book series had I not watched the movies first. Mm-hmm. But I'm not mad that I watched the movies first, because I think that it's helping keep me on track with what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in a lot of high fantasy, there's just so much going on that you can kind of get lost in it sometimes or confused.
Right.
So I feel like this kind of helps ground me a little. Even though it might also, in the same turn, kind of distract me or like, oh wait, that's different than the movie. So then I'm trying to make separate like file folders in my brain that this happened in the book, this happened in the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm much more familiar with the movies, but I'm really enjoying the books, and I like the things that are different in the book. I think that they're done a little better, other than Arwen.
Yeah.
I love her inclusion.
I agree.
I don't know if she has any more story in the third book, because in the movie she kind of has a big part. Her fate is tied to the ring. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's the same in the, which is just so interesting that they gave her such a big part, which it seems like her relationship with Aragorn would be a big part of the story, but it's not.
Yeah. And
so I do like that inclusion in the movies that's not
agree.
in the books. And usually, we've talked about this ad nauseum, normally we don't like something added in.
Right.
But that add-in feels true.
Yeah. And I think it is. I think Aragorn and Arwen's story is told, just not in these books. I think they're appendices that talk about like their relationship. I've not read
I'd like
the
to at least find
but
those
I
appendices, you know,
Yeah.
and read those, because I think that would be
Yeah.
cool. But I am glad that we got their story then, especially if it is still canon and lore. It just was fit into this.
I'm pretty sure it is actual canon.
I feel like it was fit in well.
I think so too.
And I enjoy Frodo and Sam's bond even more in this book.
Yeah, because there is a point when they're toiling out here, especially when they get to the stairs in the movies. That point where Frodo is just becoming kind of insufferable. Mm-hmm. And in the book,
I mean, he freaking runs towards the building in the movie, and you're just like, you dumb idiot, get down.
I know. And him and Sam having their issues, I'm glad that it's not that in the book. I like it that they're like really there together. They're facing Shelob together. I know in the film they do too, kind of, but Sam comes up on it afterwards.
Right. I was going to say, actually, yeah, I think Frodo
is already paralyzed.
Right. Yeah. So, like, there's no them together in the tunnel at all. Mm-mm. It's like Frodo, fighting alone, and, Gollum's taunting him and Shelob's attacking him. It's like, it was nice that, and I kind of wonder why they changed it, other than it was like they wanted more drama. But
yeah,
I liked the fact that they were in the tunnel together. And like I said, they even like held hands. And, whenever people hold hands, people try and read romance into things or whatever. Yeah. Which I will say that in the movies, they do capture looks between them. That,
yeah, I know.
It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But they just have this really pure friendship. And it's like, I felt like them holding hands in the cave was like symbolic of like their bond. Like they are in this together.
Yeah.
And are going to face whatever comes together. Mm-hmm. And then Gollum separates them,
right,
instead of emotionally like in the movie, it's physically. And Gollum taking out Sam makes Frodo that much more vulnerable, even though we've seen Frodo be a fairly formidable fighter, even though that's not something he's grown up doing, but it's like them separate is not nearly as strong as them together.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really enjoy their bond in this book.
Yeah, I agree. Super heartwarming.
Yeah.
Their care for each other.
Yeah, and their understanding of each other. Like I said, it's like especially, and I think you have moments of that for Frodo towards Sam, but it's like there's a lot of moments where it's like it's very clear that Sam sees who Frodo is as a person. And,
right.
And understands his mind, and I just think that's cool.
Yeah. Which makes it to where it isn't necessarily as believable that Frodo would send Sam away and that Sam would actually listen.
Right.
Our book Sam and book Frodo would never believe that Sam wanted to take the ring.
No.
And
like you said, that's not even a thought.
It never even occurs to either of them.
Yeah.
And
we do see him kind of weakened and tired.
Yeah.
That's really it. We don't see his mental capacity being...
Yeah. It's a physical fatigue, and which is obviously lack of food and sleep.
Yeah.
So it's...
And there is a weight to it, though, as Sam shows. But still, mostly, it's the journey.
I think it just translates showing him becoming increasingly attached to the ring and corrupt by the ring plays better on screen,
right?
I think,
right.
than
that's
the latter. But
the fact that hobbits are less likely to do so is precisely why Frodo was the right choice.
Yes, exactly. So
obviously, Bilbo got slightly corrupted by it, or at least attached. But that took
60 years.
So many years.
Yeah, Frodo's had it for a few months.
Yeah. Well, technically, I guess he had it for, how many years was it? Was it 13 years?
13 years.
And then, but I mean, still very shy of 60, so.
Very, very shy. And he also didn't keep it on his person.
Right. No, wait, okay, so he was 33 when he got it, and he was 50 when they left.
Yeah.
So, how many years is
That's
that?
17 years.
17 years.
Yeah.
We
17.
can do math.
Yeah, and that most of that time he didn't keep it on his person like Bilbo did. So I think that also the distance kind of affects it as well.
Right. Whereas and Bilbo found it and used it.
Yeah, regularly.
You know, at least at first, you know, as part of his journey and to save himself.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So, but then over the years, you know, but it took that long for him to be slightly corrupted / attached to it.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And he was still able to let it go.
Right.
In the end.
Yeah.
So even after 60 years, he was still...
It was hard.
It was hard, but he did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, granted, you know, Frodo is getting closer to the source, so maybe that could change in the third book.
Yeah.
Because there's a specific scene in the movie, obviously, in the end. I don't know if that's the same as in the book or not, so I guess we'll see.
I don't remember.
Because we're not seeing that same mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm very curious. So we'll see.
We'll see. We have no idea really what our schedule is from here. So who knows when we're going to do Return of the King, but not a super long time.
No. And I think next, we're going to do a We Watched Movies.
Yeah. That's
to let us figure out what our next book is.
Yeah. So we're going to do We Watch Movies after this. And we have like 4 in this section, 4 movies to talk about. So, it'll be good.
Yeah. This one we obviously talked a little bit about already, but we could repeat a few things. And
we'll get more into the movie and everything. So, yeah. Yay.
You can't see my thumbs up, but I'm giving 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, please rate and review us. You know, send along your book recs. Let us know what, you're reading, what you started your year off reading, what your book goals are for the year, and anything else you may want to just throw our way. We're here.
We're
listening.
Have you read Lord of the Rings?
And what do you think?
What is your opinion?
How do you compare the books to the movies?
Yeah. We've talked at length about our love for both.
Yep. And we will continue to do so.
So.
And our tunes and artwork are a collaboration of us 2 right here, the WRB crew.
Of 2. 2 towers.
Yes.
That was off the cuff, everyone.
Right. It just fell into place so perfectly.
It did. Had to take advantage of that.
You must.
And until next time, don't confuse kindness for blindness. And read books.
Okay, goodbye.